Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Anybody know what this is? Anybody got a car?
Yeah.
They offer you credit right there, right? If they offer you credit, they have to offer Emily credit. If they offer Emily credit, they have to offer Shonda credit. Credit, if you offer one person the credit, you have to offer it to them all. Doesn't mean you have to give it to them, but you have to offer it to them. If they're refused that credit, maybe they don't have a high credit score, maybe they have a lot of outstanding debt that's not paid, maybe their amount of money owed to other companies versus their income that's taken in is really high. That's okay, you can refuse their credit, but you have to notify them within 60 days of why you're not giving them the credit. Federal Truth in Lending Act. Anybody know what this is? It deals with interest. If you charge insurance on your medical bills, they have to be governed by state laws.
We can do that.
You have to discuss the amount owed with the patient, discuss your down payment, make sure that's put into there, the amount that's paid to date, and then you have to make them know, you have to let them know what interest they're going to be charged, how frequently they're going to be charged interest. Gosh, this talks about a lot of stuff. Fair Credit Billing Act. What this is it states that the patients have 60 days to complain about errors on a bill. So you have 60 days to get it corrected. Say you were erroneously charged for a tetanus shot. You went to the doctor, they say you got a tetanus shot, but you know you didn't. You have 60 days from the day you receive that bill to fight that with the company or with the medical practice. The provider has 90 days to correct that after they've been contacted. Do you have a question, Gina?
Did you say 60?
They have 60 days to complain about the errors.
So what's the 30 day? Receiving it or something? Oh, documenting.
Yeah, that says 30 and I have 60.
There's a 60 days. The verification credit act states the patient has 60 days from the date that the statement is mailed to complain about the errors. And then it says the complaint must be acknowledged.
Yeah, so your office has to acknowledge that complaint within 30 days of receiving it. Fair Credit Reporting Act. This is information that's this has to do with the information that's gathered to evaluate and determine your credit standing. So if you go to an office and they run a credit check on you, they have to let you know that they did that. They also have to provide you a copy of that credit report should you request it. Credit bureaus. What's a credit bureau?
That's what tells you you can get lines of credit.
What's one you can think of?
Equifax.
Equifax. What's another one?
I know these.
Come on, the jingle on the TV.
For creditreport.com.
There you go. For creditreport.com. That's a credit bureau. This is a consumer reporting agency. They are the ones that issue your reports when applying for credit. There's like 3 main ones that they do. Equifax, Aquarian or something like that. And there's one more. Yeah, there's one more that they go through. But what they do is they go through and they'll check all your credit with your credit cards, maybe if you have a house payment, and then they can report that to the clinic.
Isn't it bad to have your credit checked a lot?
Yes.
Yes. But once you have it ding, okay, say you're going to look for a car and you apply for credit at one dealership. That's a ding. But you have 90 days from that ding to ding it as many times as you possibly can before it counts as another instance.
So if you buy a car once a year, you're bad.
No.
No,
Like, because they have to get into your credit though.
they do, but that, I mean, Normally, how many people buy a car once a year?
I know, I'm just saying though, like, or what if you, like, younger people in their 20s, like, get a house for, or get a loan for school, then get,
You don't, like,
well, I know, or like any type of loan for a car, for a house.
credit cards, everything, as long as you do it within 190 days.
As long as you're doing one within every 90 days, or how many ever within 90 days, it's only 1 day.
How many things can you have? That's bad.
As long as you keep your credit good, it's not bad.
Yes.
If you have really bad credit, the more you ding it, the worse it
not
looks.
better.
So your clinic can get information, they can get credit, they can get work employment history, they can ask for your salary if you apply for credit at the clinic. If credit is refused, the MA needs to let the patient know what reporting agency they used so that they can request their credit report. Also, you need to send a letter to indicate the denial of credit and make sure that's in their chart. Collections. Yay. Collections establish the max time that can be assigned to an account. So this says your collection department will say, okay, how many days are we going to let this go before we send it to collections? How many days is it usually?
90.
120.
So, after 120 days, they send you a letter.
Usually. That's how it goes. Aging accounts. Kind of like what we were talking about there, the 30, 60, 90, 120. Somebody studies those. It indicates the amount of time an account is overdue. Usually figured out by the computer when a payment is posted. So somebody say they get their bill, they don't pay it the first 30 days, so you get another statement that says, okay, you're 30 days out with your $50. Say you send in $10. So then the next statement you get, you'll be 60 days out with $40 due. Does that make sense to everybody? Your insurance payments are applied to the oldest unpaid amount. So say 30 days you have $150, they send it into insurance, and then you come in within the next 30 days and you have another $150. In the meantime, you get an insurance payment for 75 bucks. That 75 bucks is going to be applied to the first $150 that were spent at the clinic, not the one that you just incurred.
Say that again.
Okay, so you come in, let's say you come in on July 1st. Come in on July 1st and you have a $150 fee. And then you come in on August 28th and you have another $150 fee. Insurance company sends $75. It gets applied to this fee.
But you still have the other.
You still have the other fee that you're gonna owe, but your insurance payment always gets applied to the oldest
Older.
charges. Office collection problem solving. This is things that you can do to try to reduce your amount of collections that you have to do. Page 435 is where we are. Actually, I'm starting on page 436. You can do credit counseling. These are usually nonprofit organizations that assist people in paying debts. Anybody had to go to credit counseling?
In the Army, yeah.
What is it? What do you do? What do they do?
Just go over our finances just to make sure that we know what we have to pay and how much we can pay.
Did everybody hear that? They go over your finances. Maybe they're going to set you down and say, okay, as a family, how much do you net a month? How much do you bring home as a family as income? Then they're going to ask you, what is your rent or house payment? What's your utility bills? How much do you spend a month in food? What other expenses do you have that you have to spend a month? They'll be able to go through and then tell you, you know, this is your budget. This is how much credit you can do. Another way of making sure you don't have collection, you can verify a check. How do you verify a check? You can call bank. Make sure you have 2 sources of ID. Make sure that the person that's giving you the check is that person. Make sure the amount on the check is correct. With verifying your check, what if you didn't verify that check, you didn't make sure it was a valid account, and you get a return check for non-sufficient funds?
Don't you get to charge them extra?
You can charge them extra.
But you have to get the cost until you get it back.
You have to eat the cost until you get it back. But you can request, you need to notify the patient that they need to bring the payment to the office instead of sending a check maybe next time. So you're not getting a phony check or a fraudulent check. You can do, you can send a demand letter. It's a non-sufficient fund demand letter. What you would want to send on that is the check number, the check date, the bank on which it's drawn, whom the check was payable, the amount, any allowable service fee. This would be like your non-sufficient fund or return check fee. The total amount that's due, the number of days you have to take action, or the person that wrote the check has to take that action. And you always want to send it certified mail, so you make sure that person is getting that information. They have, if you do send it certified mail, they have 30 days to respond to that, or you can take them to small claims court. And also, if you do send that letter, inform the patient that a check will not be taken for payment. Page 437 talks about done messages again. Like we said, this is a message placed on a statement to notify them that they have a debt. This occurs at the second billing normally that you send out a patient. It reminds the patient about their payment. And you always want to note in the computer if you do send a done message, so that you know, hey, we've contacted this patient for the second time, told them payment is due. That way you have it on file that you're trying to collect if you need to send them to collections. Telephone collections. Fun if you get to be in charge of this at your office. Do you think this is a nice job to do?
Oh.
Do you think you get yelled at a lot? Have you? It's probably not the funnest thing to do, but you need to try to be pleasant about it. If people are mean to you, rude to you, never benefits anybody to flip that back. Just try to be as nice as you possibly can. Usually these are older than 60 days. That's normally when the patient is contacted through your office. It normally happens, not always, but people that owe a larger amount are usually the ones that are called first. Try to get the big amounts first before you go for the small ones. Always be prepared of what you're going to say. You don't want to be stuttering through a phone conversation with somebody when you're telling them they have to pay you money. The longer your amount goes delinquent, the harder it is to collect. So you may want to be persistent, but you still have to follow the rules that you have to follow. What if an insurance payment is sent to the patient instead of the office? What do you think you do?
It's that way.
To the patient instead of the office.
If the payment is?
Yeah. Your insurance company sent the patient the check instead of sending it to the office. You need to contact the patient, explain to them that this was done by mistake, very nicely. You'll have to show them what's called your assignment of benefits. So that means it's the insurance company's responsibility to generate a new check to the physician and collect the money from the patient. You are not responsible to do that. The insurance company is. You need to call them and notify them, but the insurance has to collect that money from the patient, not you.
I've had that happen.
Collection letters. What's a collection letter? A letter sent what?
Saying that they have money due.
Yeah. It's usually sent if previous attempts to collect debt is unsuccessful. You've sent them several statements, you've tried to contact them by phone, you sent them a certified letter, they haven't responded. Now you're gonna send them a collection letter. You wanna send in an envelope that actually does not look like a bill. How many people get their bills and throw them in a pile? I don't even receive paper statements anymore because I don't wanna deal with them. I don't wanna look at them, I just pay my bill. A lot of people do that. They don't wanna look at their statement, they just wanna pay. So try to send it in a pretty nondescript envelope. You want to be brief and direct about why you're sending the letter. We're sending you this letter because you are 120 days past due. Here's what's going to happen. Always indicate the amount owed and the services rendered. You owe $150 for the services that were rendered on July 1st when you came in for a level 3 exam by Dr. Smith. Be direct about it. Tell them the exact information that they need to know. Indicate a payment amount that you expect and in what time frame you expect it. We expect you to pay, don't say a percentage, we expect you to pay $25 of this bill within 10 days of receiving this receipt, or this is going to happen. Enclose a self-addressed and stamped envelope so that they can make that easy. If you have an online bill pay, put that on that letter. Make it easy for them to pay this bill. You want to note in the financial section of your chart when letters or communication is exchanged. The next step after collection letter is they go to a collection agency or you take them to small claims court. Small claims doesn't happen very often anymore. Usually it's a collection agency. What is a collection agency?
You sell that debt.
I don't think,
We just like over all the phone calls and stuff.
yeah, I don't think medical bills, they can actually sell the debt. I think what they can do is say, okay, we're using ABC Collection Agency, they're the ones that are going to contact you, they get to receive a certain amount of what is paid, but you don't get to sell them to them. They can keep up to 50% actually of what's collected. So your clinic is going to take every means possible not to send this to a collection agency. A lot of times the collection agency will make a deal with you that if you pay the full amount now, we'll reduce your bill by 50%. Because they don't care. They're not eating anything. The only thing it costs them is the manpower. It's your clinic that's going to have to eat what's not paid. After it's sent to a clinic or collection agency, the clinic cannot contact you regarding the bill. Usually they send it to collection agency if it's over 6 months old. And if this happens, normally you're going to get discharged from your clinic. They're going to say, hey, due to financial reasons, we are no longer able to accept you as a patient in our clinic. And then if they do that, how long do they have to treat you?
30 days.
30 days. You have 30 days to find a new doctor. We will treat you for emergency reasons only, usually. Oh, small claims. Small claims. Small claims court. Anybody been to small claims court? Is that Judge Judy? That is Judge Judy. It's just like Judge Judy. Those are claims that are under a certain amount. Judgment is made, acknowledge that debt is owed. So your clinic takes Joe Smith to small claims court. That court is acknowledging that a debt is owed. It still needs to be collected. Just because that you won that case doesn't mean they're going to pay it right away. If it's in collections, it can't be filed in small claims. So if you sent your bill to a collection agency, you can't turn around and say, okay, we're not getting it that way, we're gonna go through small claims. You go one route or the other. A garnishment, what's a garnishment?
Take money out of your assets.
They take it directly out of your assets. They can attach this to any property that you own. They can take it out of your wages. They can take it directly from your bank account. They can take it out of your taxes if you get a tax return.
Do you know that normally when they do it, it's take it out of your tax return?
If it comes from the government, yes. If it comes from an agency, no. They usually take it wherever they can get it. And they can take like up to 45% or something ridiculous like that out of your wages. This means a specific amount of your earnings are withheld according to your pay period. A garnishment is paid until the debt is paid. So until you pay off that debt, they're going to keep taking that money from you. Child support's a perfect example of that. It has to happen a lot. It's based upon your disposable earnings. That means your amount left after deductions. That means your net pay that you take home, not your gross. Does everybody know the difference between net pay and gross pay? Can somebody explain it?
Net pay is before taxes.
Gross pay is
Oh,
before
gross pay is
taxes.
before taxes.
So say you have your insurance that comes out and your taxes that come out, and you have a $25 flex spend that comes out, and you have a $50 gym membership that comes out. That's all out of your gross monies that you make every, say, 2 weeks is your pay period. Your net pay is actually what your check is that you take home. Oh, it's 25% of your disposable earnings. I thought it was more than that. Which really, if you look at it, your disposable earnings, that's after they've already taken all of your stuff out of it. 25% of that may kill you every 2 weeks. It's quite a bit. If they took 25% out of my check every 2 weeks, I would not be a happy camper. Bankruptcy. What is bankruptcy?
It's when you wipe away your debt.
If you're in bankruptcy, they become a federal ward of the state and they're protected by the court. So what that means is if you have an outstanding debt with a patient and you go into your 6 months and you have to send it to a collection agency and then that person files for bankruptcy, you cannot send any further monthly statements to attempt to collect the debt.
They can't call it.
No, they can't. Basically, that person is null and void. You can't do anything to try to collect money from them. It's organized according to chapters. Chapters 7 through 13 apply to patients' debts. If you really want to get into it,
How long does that stay in your like 15
7
years?
7 years.
7, that's it?
Well, and sometimes even before that, like you can start getting into credit cards
So
at like
then-
4 to 5.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's only 7 years.
Yeah.
Why don't people do that more often?
Because you lose everything, and it's hard. Well, you can keep your you can keep whatever you own.
Right, like your house, you know, or we can keep one asset just depending on which chapter you're in.
You can, usually they let you keep a car if you have a car, because otherwise how are you going to get to work?
And your home.
In your home, they're not going to make you homeless. But they basically take everything else.
But that's why you sign
Like everything in your house?
it.
No, like they take all your credit cards. You don't have any type of credit. You don't have, if you have a boat or something like that, they take all your fun stuff away from you.
Still, you can't afford it. That's an easy way to like
But
be gone.
the government gets to decide if you go bankrupt. You don't get to. You can't just file for bankruptcy and say, I don't think I want to pay my bills. I'm gonna file for
It costs
bankruptcy.
like $1,500 every month.
Yeah,
Which doesn't make sense.
exactly. You gotta have money to
Okay,
be
maybe it's
bankrupt.
not that fun.
On page 445, it explains chapter 7 and chapter 13. You probably want to read through those.
Isn't one like, you get a chance to pay somebody?
Yeah,
That's chapter 7.
yeah.
What's up, Anthony?
It's kind of confusing. those two things give you a basis of what it is. I'm not gonna go into it because I'll just confuse you even more. You just read. Tracing a skip. What's a skip?
Somebody that doesn't give you a forwarding address.
Somebody that doesn't give you a forwarding address. Somebody that puts down a bogus address. They say they live at 422 South 1st Street. There is no 422 South 1st Street. If you need to trace these people, these are people that owe a balance. They may move without a forwarding address, like we said. Normally you get this because you get a return to sender. You get your statement back, it says return to sender. You need to begin to trace that as soon as possible. How do you think you trace it?
Through the post office.
Post office? How else?
Security number.
Social security number. What about trying to find them on Facebook? Google them. You have a lot of options out there now. It's a lot easier to try to trace a skip than it was 20 years ago. Maybe they gave you this address of 422 South 1st Street. You can go maybe in that neighborhood and see if anybody really knows who they are. You can do a phone number search. Go to the white pages. Type in their phone number. See if you can find it that way.
I got good.
What do you think is another way to do it?
Call cops.
You can call the cops.
Registration, like vehicle registration.
Vehicle registration. You can go to, in Iowa, you can go to Iowa Courts Online, see if they have any charges
Yeah.
against them.
Hot code out.
Yeah, or and you can look at properties, like type in their name and their pull up any
Yeah.
properties that they own.
Yeah. The internet provides you countless ways to try to find a skip. But they're not always the most safe ways
Walk
to
up
do
and knock
it.
on somebody's door,
Yeah.
you're crazy, getting gun in your face.
Okay, homework, chapter 13, you got your review questions, your numbers are in your syllabus. 13.4, is that your only one you have to do?
Yep.
Okay, so these are cash receipts. What form number is that?
51.
Form number 51 in the back of your book on page 491 is what you're going to use with this. You want to do the first one together? Okay, so first, everybody got it all out? Where do you find your patient information? Oh, it's right here, number 5. Okay, so our first patient is Mrs. Beth T. Hobson. The date of your services for all of these is going to be 2/16/12. That's just what the book says use, so we'll just use it. So your first little column up there in the corner, I wish I had a projection screen in here, so bad. So everybody see where you should put the date
Yeah, but in that little space.
in that little tiny space. Okay, it says refer to the number in the bottom right corner of your receipt to use as your reference number. So right next to that date, you're going to put the reference number. What is it for Beth Hobbs?
143.
Hobson, sorry, yep, 143.
Where did you say that?
And the receipt. Where is it 26?
Well, I know 45 and 146.
On the list.
Oh.
Getting this first one down? Okay, so your reference number is 143. So what did she have done?
Level 1 office visit.
Level 1 office visit. So you can use OV for office visit. You're going to put this in your little description. OV stands for office visit. Level 1. Just LEVEL 1. And what else did she have done?
Estrogen injection.
So what's the abbreviation for injection? INJ. So you can put INJ in there.
Does it matter that it's estrogen or?
Nope, just injection. Okay, so your charges are actually in part 5 of your workbook. It's going to state out all your charges. So you need to find out how much it is charged for level 1 office V.
In our book or our work?
No, I don't know if it was a workbook or book.
I don't think our book that didn't have prices on
Oh, it's level.
Table 7
It's
1.
table 4 actually in your book. I think it's in the back of your workbook. Page
Table 7 1.
644.
it. Page 644.
Yep. Is it there?
Level 1, 3320.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's different fees.
We're gonna use the mock fee, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. Let me add this up, make sure.
Okay.
Unless it states differently, I'm pretty sure you just use the mock fee.
It's 3325 plus.
Okay, we gotta find our injection fee.
But how do you know she's a new patient?
Okay, therapeutic injections. It's on page 654.
Oh, so we all of this.
So we are using them all.
Yep, use the mock fee. If you look a little closer, these are Medicare fees. So use your mock fee, so it's $477.
Okay, so we add up all the, like, so the level 1 is 3325, so we add all this up?
Yeah.
Where do you put
We don't itemize it though.
Oh, and you also have to charge for your supply of your estrogen. You have to charge for the actual drug that you're injecting.
Okay, so where do you put these totals at?
Well, you're gonna have to just keep the running total and then put it all in there.
3325, and you said,
$477 for the IM injection,
and then for the medication?
and then you gotta find your fee for your medication.
Just there. Supplies, materials, over, and
What page you on?
then, 655. This is supply and material over and above those usually required.
Yep, that's what you wanna use.
Wait, where?
Supplies and materials over and above those usually required. That itemized drugs and materials. So,
655?
no, 25. On page 655. So that's $25. Does everybody find where we're getting
No.
this? Okay, so everybody find your level 1 fee? Everybody find where to get that?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at page 654 in the workbook, down under therapeutic injections, you'll see right there, IM or sub-Q is $477. So you have to add your $477 to your original amount, which was what, $33.25?
3325.
Now, you're keeping a running total of this. So now this says established patient 16 to 7.
But where do you find the estrogen or whatever?
That's the, on page 655, supplies above and beyond. Okay, hold on, I lost my other page. Okay, we messed up. Because we charged her a new patient fee. She's an established patient
Where does it say that? That she's an established.
on your workbook. On 13.4 it says she's established.
God.
Okay.
So do you guys see on page 644 the difference between a new patient and an established patient?
Yes. Established.
You have a new patient here and an established patient here. So right here it says the first patient is established.
And she visit.
So she had a level 1 office visit, which is 1607. And then we went through and found what it is for an injection, therapeutic injection. IM is 477.
4584.
And then you have to charge for the actual estrogen too. So you go up here, services normally provided in the office. Services requested,
Then
no,
it says post-charge.
right here. Supplies and materials over and above those usually required. So that would be, and it says right there, itemized drugs. So any type of medication drug that you're gonna use. So you have to add those 3 amounts
The
together.
first patient had
What's the total?
4584.
4584.
And she had no.
So we put that under charges?
Yep. So you post those charges. She didn't have a previous balance. So in your previous balance, it says on number 4 on 13.4, she had no previous balance, so you put 0 in there.
No payments, right?
Hold on, I don't think we're that far yet.
But that's the next one.
because number 9, that one had
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
been paid for service.
Yeah, so. Payments, zero, adjusted, zero, balances,
See, because I have on here that she paid